Coach, we'll start with an opening statement about today's game, and then we'll open it for questions.
It's always a big game against Braggin Rights game against Illinois, so I'm just glad to be able to get the win. I felt like Sierra Harrison threw absolutely amazing today. Real good stuff through both sides of the plate. Great command. Did a great job setting up batters. Really happy with her outing, and I'm impressed with Natalie Touche coming in that situation. She hasn't been in that closing role, coming in with a game on the line, and we had the go-ahead run at home plate. So those were impressive to see that she was able to come through in that situation.
What led to the decision to make the change to Natalie there?
Pinnell's control. She wasn't really controlling and commanding her pitches the way she normally does. So I didn't want to take a chance. And, when runners in scoring position and you try to control it, you might lose a little movement. So obviously with the tying run that was up, I wasn't going to take a chance with that. So bringing in Natalie, who's a ground ball pitcher, keeping the ball low, and got some key pop-ups in that situation. So that was huge for us.
Do you think there was anything specific that helped you guys break through in the bottom of that sixth inning?
Oh, she threw a great game. She kept the ball low, real good drop ball, and we were just going out and getting it, which is why we weren't scoring it up, and we have to work behind the drop ball, so that way it travels deeper, so then we're able to square it up. And, sometimes it takes just one hitter, and Kara was able to capitalize and hit that home run for everyone else to trust what their plan is and being able to execute it.
So you get that home run to kind of break it open a little bit, but so much of your offense has come on the long ball this year. To have an inning where you're just putting it together and making consistent contact, putting the ball, not over the fence, but where it needs to go. What did you like out of that frame?
I think, and this is what I just said, the team in the locker room, a lot came down to Addie Kohler at first base and coming in as the pinch runner. And she and I had a conversation, and this goes with everybody who comes out of the dugout. Like, anyone that's being called upon is being put in a situation to be successful and relied on. Like, it can come down to that one play, and it came down to Addie being at first base and being able to score from first on Kara's double to center field. Like, that's huge. In Addie buying into what her role is, and obviously Kara being able to capitalize. And then it just starts to continue in passing the bat and having more quality at bats. You can't score unless Addie's on first base, and that really what really started to turn the tides for us.
6-game win streak headed into number one Oklahoma, who had yet to lose a game. What are you telling your girls?
One, the game doesn't care who you're playing in the other dugout. So we can't try to do anything different against Oklahoma that we wouldn't do against Illinois. Like, we have to execute. And there were some things today in the Illinois game that we have to do better. Like, we had a missed squeeze. I think there were some balls that were blooped over our head that we got to make some of those plays. So there's things that we have to continue to get better, and those things get exposed against Oklahoma. So we have to just be ready to capitalize on the opportunities that we have. We can't miss pitches, both in the mound and when we're in the batter's box. We have to be able to win the game in every single route.
Claire Cahalan's really starting to grow into a strong player. Like, she leads your team in stolen bases and then also got a 2 RBI double today. What can you say about her growth from last year to this year?
Understanding, offensively, she understands what the game is telling her. And because she's a 5-tool slapper, she has the ability to keep her feet still and hit for some gap power, and then she can drop a bunt when she needs to. So she's constantly reading the defense and causes havoc. And it changes how pitchers call the game because of what she's able to do. So that becomes a weapon of itself. And then when you're on the bases and you have a steal threat, all she has to do is even pump fake steal, and the defense is going to move, which then opens up for the batter that's behind her, which is Crenshaw right now. So it's a huge weapon to have someone like Claire that has all the tools and the ability to be able to run to cause havoc for a defense.
Similarly, individually, Kara's numbers last year took a bit of a dip from where she was at her first 2 years, and she's really bounced back to even a higher level this year. What have you seen from her that was different from last year, and what was different about last year from those first?
I think she's found a comfort in her swing. She's not trying to change something every single game. And last year, she just was never comfortable. She didn't know what her swing needed to be, what it felt like. She was always trying different things. So then there's a lot of uncertainty when she would step in the batter's box. And this year, she's really found what she needs to focus on, how she can make the adjustments and not trying to do too much. when that comes into play is making sure that she's on time and swinging at good pitches. Because if you're not swinging at good pitches, your swing's going to fall apart. So your mechanics are going to fall apart when you swing at balls. If you're not on time, your mechanics are going to fall apart. So focusing on those two things that she can control, being on time and swinging at pitches, then she can be able to be more consistent with her swing.
A couple weeks ago, I think it was, you mentioned working with some movement specialists during the off season. Would you say that's part of that comfortability,
Yeah.
or are you talking more like a mental comfortability?
Both. It's her staying within her profile of what her movements need to be and being able to recognize when she's in her profile, when she's out, what happens when she's out of her profile. But when she's out of time and swings at poor pitches, she gets out of profile. So how can she stay within what her body needs to do to be successful? So like the home run that she hit, I mean, that was a pitch that was probably below her knee outside. And because she stayed within her strength and let the ball travel and hit the backside of it rather than hitting the top, she's able to drive it out of the ballpark. So those types of things that they start to trust a little bit more, and then they start to see the results of what their hard work does. Cool.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks.
Coach.
Thank you.